Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. I can see the spirit. People are here at this time, so we are fully motivated. My name is Zahid Said. I am SMB security lead. I live in Ashburn, Virginia. And I have with me Dave, who is our marketing development manager. And I have Oscar. Oscar came specially from Istanbul. He's one of our partners who will present with us today. So in the agenda, we have a lot to cover, like 75 minutes. So hopefully, we will go in different sections. So we divided into 5 sections here. In the first section, we will talk about like cybersecurity trends, why it's important, what's going on in the industry, and we will also cover the new features, what we have in the M365B, and Dave will cover that. And in the second section, we will talk about more like deployment scenarios which we feel are more commonly used. It could be from business premium to M365B or Office E3 to M365B. So we will talk about that, a little bit cover about the licensing. And then at the same time, we will look at the troubleshooting. We actually tested these scenarios. Oscar, who is here with us, we tested with 3 customers there in Istanbul, and we will share our learnings, insights. What were the results, and if there are some challenges, we will share that. And then other is also enabling the features. So this is more kind of hands-on section. We will do the live labs. Hopefully, if the connection is still there, we expect it to be there. We have hardcore connection here with the physical connectivity. And we also have the recorded in case the connection does not work, so we will have the recorded demos there. So we will configure all the features one by one. The last section is very interesting. If you are familiar with the Secure Score, so we will talk a little bit about the Secure Score and also very innovative solution from Macronet, how they were able to have like one single dashboard where you can, IT administrator can manage all the users at one place. So we have full pack agenda. With this, I will give Dave.
Great. Thanks very much, Zahid. Hi, everyone. So if you've paid attention only to the mainstream media recently, you might think that cybercrime really only affects larger enterprise-sized companies and maybe governments. But that's not really the case. Cyber criminals are clever, and they're always on the lookout for vulnerable businesses, regardless of size. So small and medium-sized businesses are not immune to cybercrime. In fact, cyber criminals are increasingly targeting those smaller businesses under the assumption that they're more complacent and don't have all of the technologies in place to really protect themselves like the larger companies do. In fact, Microsoft just recently partnered with YouGov to survey small and medium-sized businesses, and we learned that 1 in 4 smaller-sized businesses have already been a victim of a cyber attack. In our survey, about a quarter of them had their customers' privacy violated, and about 1 out of 5 had some sort of trade secrets or IP that got leaked as part of the cyber attack. And then the Better Business Bureau did a similar study, and they learned that the cost of the typical cyber attack, an average cost was just south of $80,000, and that's per cyber attack. And back in our survey that we did with YouGov, about a third of those companies who had a cyber attack told us that it cost them more to fix the problem that was caused by the cyber attack than it would have if they would have had the right securities in place to begin with. So cyber protection against cybercrime is really important regardless of the company size that you're working with or dealing with. So, you know, cyber criminals, they exploit common mistakes and flaws to get in and breach your systems, and then they'll steal, disrupt, or hold your company for ransom. But the good news is that you don't have to be an easy mark. We're going to talk about 4 common cybersecurity scenarios that small and medium-sized businesses can take care of right now, today. So the first one is taking a piecemeal approach. So it might be tempting to stack up new technologies every time another threat is uncovered. But what this really ends up with is you've got way too many products, way too many vendors you're dealing with. All these products are not integrated. They all have their own separate dashboard, their own separate alerts, their own separate controls. So you need to almost have a full-time IT person just to really understand all these different cybersecurity solutions that there are. And the typical SMB does not have that person, it doesn't have a full-time staff. But even if you do, it's really, having all these different solutions doesn't give you a holistic view of the threats. And so it's harder to then effectively and efficiently combat any of those threats that you uncover. Scenario number 2 is leaving personal devices unprotected. So, think about your business. How many ways do you have to access your business? Even the smallest of company probably has multiple computers in the office, and then all of their staff usually accesses the company data from their home laptop. You've got your personal mobile device, you've got tablets. There's all these different endpoints that you and your small company are using to access your data. And this is an issue. In fact, 60% of breaches come from a compromised endpoint, such as a personal device, a personal mobile phone. And so a couple ways that you can really work on this is make sure that you've got some good identity and access management. IAM eliminates the complexity of multiple user credentials by giving employees a single secure identity to access all of your network resources. And then secondly is multi-factor authentication. MFA is so important. It provides that additional layer of protection so that in addition to a password, you need to have a second level of authentication, whether it's a fingerprint, facial detection, a text message sent to a mobile device. That second layer of protection is really very important. And then third is leaving data unprotected. So now if data travels outside of your control, anytime that you or your staff members send an email with a link or a document to your accountant or to your attorney or to customers, to vendors that you work with. So as soon as that data leaves your control, you really don't have that much control over what happens to it. But so what you can do about this is you can categorize your data based on the sensitivity and how critical it is to your business. And better yet, don't just categorize it, automate this categorization so that when the data is created, when that document is created, the appropriate protections are built in to that data from the start. And then third is really control the access to your data. For the data that is most important or that is that confidential data, that's where you need to impose the strongest measures such as restricted access or limiting sharing privileges or even encrypting that data. And then the fourth one, man, this is one that I hear all the time when talking to small businesses about security. More often than not, they say, hey, Dave, I know I should be concerned about cybersecurity, but in all honesty, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what questions to even ask to figure out, am I at risk or am I not? So there are a few ways to really take care of that. So first is just figure out what your risks are. There are several security profiles that are available online, or work with a Microsoft partner. I see a couple in the audience, and we've got Macronet as an example. And they can help you really identify what your risks are. And then additionally, Office 365 subscribers have access to SecureScore. This is something that we'll be talking about a little more later. But real quickly, SecureScore gives you both a numerical value of how you're doing with your security profile, but equally as important, it gives you what are some recommendations that I can take advantage of, that I can do to strengthen my profile. So you've identified where you're at risk, you've taken some steps to remediate it, you're still not done. You need to review your security situation periodically. Continually go back and check your SecureScore, work with your partner, and it's a good idea to benchmark yourself against other industries or other companies in a similar industry or with a similar look to you. So that's really the reality of cybersecurity that's faced by SMBs, and this is where Microsoft 365 Business really comes into play. Microsoft 365 is an integrated solution that brings together best-in-class productivity of Office 365 with the advanced security and device management capabilities that really help to safeguard your business. Now, this is kind of a listing of some kind of the typical stack of technology that a lot of SMBs look for when they are when they're looking for ways to run their business securely. And so what we've found is if you build all this together, if you cobble it together from multiple different vendors, you can easily spend upwards of $100 per user per month. And you'll be in that situation we talked about before where you've got a lot of different vendors, products that don't necessarily integrate with each other. And so what we learned when we were putting Microsoft 365 Business together is that even though this is a technology stack that a lot of SMBs want, they weren't really building it because they didn't have they couldn't afford the cost structure or even just the headache of dealing with all these disparate systems. And so with Microsoft 365, we pulled together these productivity solutions, these security solutions, these device management solutions into one neatly integrated single solution for a lot more affordable price of just $20 per user per month. And here, this kind of talks about what is involved, what's included in Microsoft 365 Business. You've got your productivity, your Office 365 Online. You have your advanced security, things like external threat protection and protection against internal data leakage. And then also your device management with Intune and SSO for 10 apps. And then autopilot and being able to selectively wipe data off devices. So we brought all this together, again, into a nicely integrated solution of all these different capabilities. I'll wait for a couple people to snap photos. Okay, we'll move on then. And then, so that's Microsoft 365 Business. I want to also talk about some of the recent features, recent additions we've done in the spring and the summer. When we first came out with Microsoft 365 Business, we were really proud of it and thought it was a really great value, but we've even made it a better value over the last several months by bringing in these additional capabilities at that same price point. So first is support for hybrid Active Directory deployment. So we realize that not all small businesses, or not all businesses, are in their same position, in the same point in their transition to the cloud. Initially, we were expecting that Microsoft 365 would help be that driving force to get you 100% in the cloud. That's not realistic, so we now are able to support a hybrid Active Directory deployment. So if you've got some on-premises assets and in the cloud, we can now support that. Then additionally, we have threat protection through Office 365 ATP. We'll talk about that in a little more detail. You can classify data with Azure Information Protection. You can protect information with data loss prevention, DLP. And then this last one doesn't have anything to do with security, but it's actually really pretty cool. We just also announced that we've included Microsoft Stream Plan 2 in Microsoft 365 Business. And Stream, yeah, it's nice. It's a video tool. But what's great about it is Plan 2 brings in some great AI capabilities that makes it really super easy for your users to use and take advantage of. So those are the product enhancements. I just have one more plug here about new stuff, and then we'll get on into the meat. So we've recently also launched this small and medium-sized business community within the Microsoft community, tech community. And so this is a great place where you can go and interact with other SMB leaders. You can read blogs. You can share your ideas there. So the next time you go out to the tech community, check out the SMB community within the tech community and join it. We're at about 300 members right now. Let's see how quickly we can grow that to 3,000 or 30,000, right? And then there's a quick link down below. Okay, so that's all the new stuff. So let's talk about what Microsoft 365 Business, what are these new security enhancements that we're talking about? So Microsoft 365 Business really takes a multifaceted approach to security. First, you get protection from sophisticated threats that are hidden in email attachments and links. Second, you get protection against data leakages from accidental leakage from your staff by preventing sensitive information like social security numbers, credit card numbers from being shared outside your business. And then third, you get to control and manage the access to your information. With Microsoft 365 Business, you control who has access to company information by applying restrictions like do not copy, do not forward, and you can even easily encrypt your data. So let's go into the first one of these, which is protection from threats. Now, with our threat protection tools, they keep your business free of hazards such as spam, malware, viruses, phishing attempts, malicious links, while also helping to protect from sophisticated threats that are really disguised as email attachments or links, also zero-day ransomware, and then other advanced threat techniques. The threat protection features in Microsoft 365 scan every attachment that's coming in through an email. And so this safe attachment feature does a comprehensive real-time analysis of the behavior of that file and to really determine its intent, whether it's a malicious file or it's a safe, normal file. And then we also know that today's bad guys, these bad actors, they're more clever than ever. So even your staff who understand that they shouldn't click on a link from someone from an email coming in from someone they don't know, a lot of times these spoofed emails look pretty legit. And so even if you have someone who does click on a link that is a malicious link, the Safe Links feature will remove the guesswork by doing the check for you and protecting your users from clicking through to malicious or unsafe sites. And so the second facet of security information really helps prevent against accidental leaks of data by utilizing data loss prevention capabilities and mobile device management. So small businesses deal with a wide variety of sensitive information like credit cards, social security numbers, date of births, or intellectual property that is really, really core to the running of the business. And so keeping this information safe can be a challenge because expecting employees to manually check every email that they send out to make sure is there sensitive information in there, that's a lot for your employees to have to worry about. And with Microsoft 365, they don't have to. The data loss protection policies within Microsoft 365 Business really help your business to protect that sensitive information. And then you can also enforce device encryption with BitLocker and to protect against data theft or exposure to if a computer is lost or stolen. And then finally, you get end-to-end in-tune device management across all your devices, PCs, Macs, mobile devices, that help to protect that sensitive information from leaking outside of your company. And then finally, the third layer of your security strategy is controlling and managing who has access to your content. So our information protection policies in Microsoft 365 Business provide the capabilities to control and manage how that information is accessed and making sure that only the right people have access to certain information. So with this, you can enjoy peace of mind with features like multi-factor authentication, ability to remotely wipe data from off a device that's either been lost, or if you have an employee who leaves your company, you can wipe just your company data off of their personal devices. You can classify sensitive information as confidential. You can also easily encrypt information as well. So that's kind of the high level of the new security features that are included in Microsoft 365 Business. I'll turn it over to Zahid and Oscar to go a little more deeper into the details.
Thanks, Dave. I think there was a question. Sorry, I don't know if you still remember it. If you can go to the mic, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Does 365 have the Azure ATP in the security features?
Not Azure ATP. We have Office ATP, and I will explain that what it is. I mean, in the demo. Yeah, not Azure ATP. Okay, anyone if any question, please come to here, and so it can be recorded or we can repeat that. So as Dave was mentioning, we have so many new features which we announced at Inspire. Many of are not aware when we were talking to the customers or partners. It was kind of new thing for them. At the same time, in this session especially, we will tell you how you can configure it one by one, right? All the features we talk about ATP, Dave talked about the classification, encryption, how we make sure the document which even you want to copy on USB, you cannot copy it. If you want to send email, you cannot send email if you have classified it confidential based on your policy. So we will demo that. Before it, we also cover like kind of different little bit licensing there, because how many of you are familiar with the business premium license? So many of you are there, right? So we found like there are two types of customers here mostly. One has business premium already, and they are looking now how we can move to the M365B. Is there is a legitimate reason why I should move it? So we covered those things here, especially if you look at this slide, you will see we have, if you're looking for advanced threat protection, we will go more in detail what it is. I think this is the right thing for you. Plus the other DLP, data loss prevention or protection. Then you have the AIP, Azure Information Protection Plan 1. So this will be the right thing to do. It's all upgrading to the business premium with a little more price. You can do that. The other one is Office. When we're talking about the E3, some of you have maybe E3 there, and then you are planning to do M365B, right? So then we have to check what you are getting more here. It's not kind of downgrade. It's more if it's a need for you. If you look there, it's a tenant size, right? You can have up to 300 maximum in M365B, but there in E3, you can go much more beyond there on the capacity-wise. Plus, there is a Pro Plus features as part of E3, which you're not going to get in M365B, but do you really need it? So that's an open discussion you can have, like what is your business vision, what you need, and once we cover that in deployment scenario, we will go a little bit more detail what you have to do in the Pro Plus portion. The other thing here is also in Exchange Online, the size, the capacity, you have 50 there, and then you have 100 gigabit in the E3. And then here, remember, you're getting 100 gigabit also as archiving, right? So in the Exchange Online, you're getting that portion there. So these are trade-offs you have to do when you make a decision whether I want to move E3 to 365. The price is same, but definitely you are getting like ATP, DLP, Windows Exploit Guard, e-discovery, and all of those features there. I will encourage to look into that. Now, if we consider, like people like me, we are working a lot in the field with the customers globally, and then we realize there are mostly, so far I have encountered 3 scenarios in M365B. One is the brand new customer. They have everything on-prem, and now they want to move to the cloud, or it's new for them. So that is kind of discussion, not selling more kind of right away which product is good for you, but let's discuss with them cloud strategy, like cloud migration. Why is it important for them? Does their business goals align with their IT strategy, what they will get on that? So it's more kind of discussion, I think internal discussion, like whether we want to move there. And based on that, we put really a good steps which are important if it's the customer who plans to move to the cloud, right? If you look at here in the number 1 here, here is like once we make a decision, yes, we want to move to the cloud. And the number portion was, okay, we have to get the licenses now. We have to activate those licenses there. And then you can create the policies. You can create the security policies for your PCs. The second one is now to the mobile devices, how we make sure that your mobile devices are configured for that. And then we have number 3 portion here, which was tested, like if you look on the right-hand side, customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3 there. So there are 3 different scenarios which we test. I am not sure where you lie in that, but most probably you will be one of them there. So Oscar, if you want to explain, like based on your experience, which yes, you did the recent deployment with the customers, if you want to walk the audience through these steps.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. Especially we have analyzed our customers, and we see that there are 3 types of customers in mainly. And customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3. Customer 1 has on-prem Active Directory and lots of operating systems, different operating systems. And customer 2 has on-prem Active Directory, but total Windows 10 devices. And the customer 3 is the easiest one. It's working on a workgroup and working with Windows 10. Especially, we will discuss about the in-place upgrade, about the operating systems. But in greenfield deployments, for these customers, the important thing is data migration. If you are on the greenfield, we know that your services are not on the cloud, and you have to migrate all the workloads to the cloud. So you have to do a pre-assessment, and you have to do all pre-requirements for your environments. Because at the same time, your servers and users will change their environments. Sorry.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
And on this scenario, we will talk about business premium to Microsoft 365 business customers. And again, we will discuss about the operating systems. In-place upgrades are big case on the operating systems. Because in some Windows versions, especially in Windows 7, you cannot take in-place upgrade automatically. You have to do some registry cleanings or registry editings on the operating systems, and after that, you can do in-place upgrade. This is very important because some customers says that we cannot update our operating systems, and this is a problem. Yes, especially this is a problem, and we are trying to solve this, but for this day, we have to do this with editing registry or cleaning registry. And of course, the last option is a fresh install. We know that fresh install is a bit different, a bit difficult. But think about that. You will do all operating systems, Windows 10 Pro, and after joining to the Azure Active Directory 10 Business, you will manage all your devices. So this, you have to do this in-place upgrades or operating system upgrades. And the other side, local domain problems. Especially, it's not a problem, it's not a case. You can use they together. You can do a hybrid domain join. And I think tomorrow morning, there will be a session about hybrid domain join. Yeah. And you can go this session.
We have a deep dive tomorrow on the hybrid scenario, which that's why we are not covering this here. I think it's tomorrow 9 a.m. The speaker is here, and she will be delivering that. Definitely go and join that, yeah.
But before that, you have to discuss, do you have any need for hybrid domain join or not? For example, why are you using your local domain? For just only user access, for GPUs, or something else like that? If you are using only for user access, Azure Active Directory do this operation very well. And if you are using lots of group policy objects, you can analyze your environment with MMAT tool, MMAT tool. And this tool shows that you can convert your group policy objects to Intune objects or not. If lots of group policy objects will convert it to the Intune objects, you can shut down your local directory, and you can manage all your computers with Azure Active Directory. It's possible, and we did this. But if you are shutting down your local directory and joining all the devices to the Azure Active Directory, you have to do a profile migration because you are disconnecting all the profiles from the old domain, and in a new profile, you are joining the devices to the Azure Active Directory. And at this time, Microsoft offers a LabLink tool, and this tool migrates profiles from old to new one.
Yeah, and just want to add one thing when we talk about the upgrade from Windows 7 or 8.1 to Windows 10, right? Just remember the users should have already OS, right? As part of M365B, we are giving the upgrade, the users which have 7 or 8.1. If they have no OS, then this is not for them. So they have to buy the OS. In other words, we are not giving a new OS. We are giving just the upgrade to 7 and 8.1 users there. Plus, it's Windows Pro, not Enterprise, Windows Enterprise. So sometimes the questions comes. Based on that, I am just clarifying that. Yeah. Go ahead.
And at this scenario, we are discussing about E3 to M365 business. Zahid said that the license price are same, and this is not a downgrade. But again, you have to see your needs, especially if your users are not using E3 and Office Pro Plus features. You can downgrade Office versions to the standard one. But of course, there are some limitations on the standard Office. And you have to discuss with these users. Maybe they will use some Pro Plus features and you may not know them. This is very important. And after that, with Intune, you can manage this operation. You can downgrade all the Office suites to standard versions with Intune. The other side, in E3 license type, you have Plan 2 servers. For example, you have Exchange Plan 2, you have SharePoint Plan 2, and Skype for Business Plan 2. But in Microsoft 365 Business, you have Plan 1 services. So there are some limitations on Exchange side, SharePoint side, Skype for Business side. You have to know these differences. For example, in Exchange Online side, we have 100 gigabytes with Plan 2. But in Plan 1, we have only 50 gigabytes. And again, it gives us 100 gigabyte online archiving. And we can manage this extra storage with retention policies. And if you are using an enterprise product, you may have some enterprise environment tools, for example, SSCM. This is the biggest chance for you, because with SSCM, you can control your management and you can deploy lots of services with SSCM.
Yeah, and also I just want to add here whenever we are doing this exercise with the user, so always the security features, what we have like ATP, DLP, and Windows Upgrade, this is so huge, we found it's very easy always during the conversation that they want to move to M365B because they are getting much, much more. Definitely there are a little bit trade-off with the Pro Plus features, but overall, if you look at everything on the security side plus the Windows side, I think it's really a good deal for the users. Any questions so far before we go to the next section where we're going to talk about all the features? Yeah.
Yes, you said that there is 100 gig of archive with
M365B.
No, Plan 1. Plan 1 plus archive.
Plan 1 plus
in
archive.
Exchange 2, you have unlimited archive size. You know that. But in business, you have Plan 1, you have 50 gigabyte storage and 100 gigabyte online archive size. This is the difference.
Hi, I'm the product architect for Microsoft 365 Business. And so essentially what we've added into Microsoft 365 Business are Exchange Online archiving features, so the EOA. So it's literally the same service plan. So it's not so much about Plan 1 or Plan 2, because even in E3, the Plan 2 contains the EOA service plan. So it's literally the same service plan in Microsoft 365 Business. There is legal.
There is legal.
There is
Yeah,
legal
that's
hold. E-discovery.
In Microsoft 365 Business.
In 365B, right, if I go here, let me share with you the slide which we did here. You know, you have the legal hold and everything here.
Yes. So let me clarify the whole E3 and Microsoft 365 Business. In my opinion, the only thing in E3 right now that is not supported in Microsoft 365 Business is very, very specific feature called Office Shared Computer Activation. Everything else is pretty much identical in Microsoft 365 Business. Yes, it is essentially the shared computer activation off the Office component. Even the Office Pro Plus component and the Office Business Client are now at parity because we support DLP, we support EOA, we support AIP, we support all of those enterprise features. So essentially the only sort of thing when you're considering between E3 and Microsoft 365 Business is this little niche called Office SCA. Everything else in a way is what we support. And they do say the other difference is in a way, the primary mailbox in E3 is 100 gig with unlimited archiving. In M365 Business, it's 50 gig with unlimited archiving. So
yeah, and also I think this is the best slide, by the way, if you want to compare the features. And that's why we put here all the e-discovery, litigation, and all of that is there, right? So these will be also available. Definitely. Go ahead. There's a question. Yeah.
About this slide, what about Office E5 license? So you've got the E3 and business, but the E5 all the options and all.
Okay, yeah, we actually did not compare E5 here, M365B E5, because we feel like the overall features which are looking on E5, let's say you need maybe more teams there, what are all the features are available much more on E5. If users are using that, maybe they need it. But if you need, like, want to compare, we also have some documentation that compare even M365 E3 and also E5 with all of that. We do have a slide, and we can give it to. But here for this session, we always thought, because the most commons are business premium to business and E3, Office E3 to there. Yeah.
But I'll need that slide.
It's
will
actually
definitely-
publicly available. It's on a partner site. It's called, the site address is aka.ms/partner M365B. All of this is available. And it's also there on our SMB tech community, aka.ms, SMBTC. It's all there on the tech community. The one thing I would say from an M365B perspective is we do have E5 features called Office Advanced Threat Protection and even some Windows Defender control folder access. So M365 Business is a superset. So if you're selling E3 for SMB Office 365 E3 for SMB customers, M365B is a bigger superset of Office 365 E3 for the same price. That's the way to look at it. So Business Premium is the SKU. Office 365 Business Premium is the SKU. And within Business Premium, the Office client that comes in is called the Office Business Client. So it's not Pro Plus. It's the Office Business Client because it's built for an SMB audience. And so it is the same business client in M365B, except in M365B, we said we have enterprise features like DLP, AIP, all of that needs to be supported. So we have retooled the Office Business Client to support these enterprise features.
Yeah, so I would say just, sorry.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, just we want to make sure the time we
Sure.
have kind of this
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
But is there any question, please? Yeah, last question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. You can mix and match. You can mix and match, just you cannot have like M365B under EA, Enterprise Agreement, right? But you can mix and match, yeah?
Yes. Sorry for interrupting.
No worries. Thanks, Bianca. Appreciate it. So here, the next section, we're going to talk more about the enabling features, right? One by one, like if we go to the other thing which Dave was mentioning in the beginning, how we make it very simple for the IT admins and users to manage and configure all the features here, like simple settings like DNS setup, user configuration, email migration app, all can be done through the admin feature. It's not 100% all the features are there. For some features, you might have to go to security and compliance section, but we are adding more and more features under admin, and we will share with you what we have. Plus, there are other things like as an admin you can do is, if you want to enable like Windows Defender for everyone and you want to say like user cannot disable it, so this is all possible through the admin portal, which we will share here. Now let's talk about the ATP, the Advanced Threat Protection, right? So if you know, like every user have antivirus already installed. The number one question I get is, okay, what's the ATP going to give us? We already have all the antivirus software on our machines running. So AVs are normally, go with the known database. Let's say they have 1 million signatures already identified. So they can always say, okay, this virus is coming, I will stop it. But what about the things which are not in the database? Then you need something that can do real-time protection. So there we have a couple of things here in the ATP. One is the safe attachments, right? So sometime if you get an email with an attachment and then the user can click on it, user training is definitely good, but not all the users are always like well-trained and know the IT. So ATP makes sure if you click on that attachment, so it tells you whether it is safe or no. We will explain that in the lab, how we configure it. But that's really a good feature to have because this is something you want to make sure your email or machine is not compromised. The second one is safe links. You get email, within the email, there are so many links always. And if you click one link, it will take you to a different website. What ATP is doing is it is rewriting that URL and is taking to another site with the safe link, so you are safe, even the link which was sent to you, kind of phishing link you have. And it's very easy to rewrite that link. We will also share with you the example how to do that. We also have SharePoint, OneDrive, the Teams where you upload the files. And those files, we want to make sure they're also safe if there is a file that has a malware. So we are making sure we are detecting that malware and making sure these files are safe. The other big one is spoofing, right? How many, almost everybody have seen the emails coming maybe from your CEO, CTO, sometime like they say, okay, this is something you have to do. Even email is coming from your own domain. Then you trust more, okay, this is my domain, I know this guy works with me, you click on that. So that's kind of spoofing. We do through a machine learning, make sure everything which is in the text, it's the domain name, phishing emails, everything is read there, like in seconds, in microseconds to make sure that is safe. Because sometimes if you look at just at that email content spoofing, it's hard to detect. So this is all done through the ATP capabilities what we have. This is good. This, as an IT admin, this is very important to look at the reports here. So if you feel, okay, I have ATP, I bought it, I have M365B and it should work. No, it will not work unless you enable it or configure it properly. So to test it, it's really important to look at the reports, what happens, how many detected. If your report is always getting flat, 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 it means something is wrong with your configuration. You have to go back and look at how, if it's configured properly, our policies are set or no. So with that, I will ask Oscar to do a demo for the ATP, how to configure it, the examples which we discussed.
Yes, we are logging into our admin center, and from the admin center, we are switching to the Security and Compliance Center. At Security and Compliance Center, under the threat management, there are policies. And in these policies, you can see that ATP safe attachments and safe links. First of all, we want to do safe attachments demo. You can clicking and adding new policy.
So even like before that, if you close this, there is another thing, right?
Yes, that's true.
That's there.
There's another point, an important point. When you click this button, you can turn on ATP for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams. It means that on the documents on the SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams will be scanned with ATP2. And if any object found on these documents, it will be blocked. And after that, you can click and write a new policy, name and description, and after.
So here even we're going to see like different features what they have,
yes,
right? So
that's true. Off means off, there's no security. And monitor is, it only monitors the documents. There's no block or anything else. Everything goes to users directly, but the admin can monitor the behaviors. And block means that if there is anything bad on the bad object on the email or the other documents, it will be blocked automatically, and end user cannot see anything. Replace means that it blocks the bad things on the objects, but the email will still deliver to the user. If an attached email sent to the user, it will only see the email. It cannot see the attachment with replace method. And dynamic delivery says that dynamically the user receives the email, and after the scan, the document attached to the email. This is important because in some cases our customer says that after ATP enabled, the mails comes very, very late. This is because the system scans emails and documents attached. So it will be a delay. But if you choose dynamic delivery, the email directly sends to the user, and after the attachment scanned, it will attach to the email again.
Yeah, and also sometimes when the attachment is so big, right, you have a file, a zip file that has maybe 50 files inside the zip file, right? So it will take a little bit time to scan and do it. So it's dynamic delivery is also a feature that you can still get the email, and then you can preview it or you can get There's a question, yeah? If you want to come to the mic, we can just record the section for everybody who is maybe online.
So my global admin account is an account that I set up just for administration. Doesn't have any Microsoft licensing on it. Am I going to be able to see these screens?
But you can monitor it.
What?
You can monitor it.
No, I think the question he's asking, like, I have to set up as an admin, you mean, to configure this feature?
Does the admin account need to have licensing?
No,
Okay.
you don't.
No, you don't need to have
You don't need any license.
Yeah,
You can configure, and again, you can reach to the reports. It's not needed to license.
okay.
And enable redirection. If you enable redirection, if a malware detected on the email, this email will be redirected to the admin. Of course, it's blocked for the last user, but the admin can read or inspect in the email. You can select multiple receipts or domain. We are picking domain because we want to save all the users, and after that, it says that delivery
Yeah,
is blocked,
that's fine.
and that's okay.
Yeah. So this is like, it's kind of as a simple to configure ATP, right? Like as long as you know what is your company policy, what you want to do with this attachment, either dynamic delivery or block or whatever, you agree so you can configure the ATP.
And let's look at the safe links.
Yeah.
We are again creating a safe links policy. URL rewrite is on, and it says that safe attachments can be scanned with this. Means that if your email has a download link, this will scan with ATP again. And this says that in-organization messages will be scanned too. If you can add domain which not be rewritten. For example, you can add your domain here, and your domain links will not be rewritten. And again, we are selecting the domain.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I want to show that what is rewritten. You are seeing an email which has scanned by ATP, and if mouse is over a link, you can see at the bottom emia01.safelinks.com protection.outlook.com. This means that this link has scanned and rewritten. But if you click to the link, first of all, it goes the secure site, and after that, it goes to true link.
To the actual link, yeah? Mm-hmm. That's a Turkish language, huh?
Yes,
sure.
that's true.
Okay. So the other, after ATP, AIP, Azure Information Protection, right? So that's really the feature I think most of the customer user like to have. Because once you classify the document that is confidential, sensitive, based on your policy, which documents you want to do, then it stays with the document. Wherever this document is going, your classification label is go with it. Even if somebody tries to copy through the USB, if it wants to copy from one place to the other place, so it resides within the document, right? So that's kind of beauty of the AIP. So initially, I always encourage the customers to use, let's plan for that. What are your categories? It could be different if you're working within government organization. It might be top secret, confidential. If for the education, it might be different. And these are the capabilities. Once you have that identified, then it's much easier to configure the AIP and apply it. And we would love to show you the demo for the AIP as well.
We are going to the Azure portal when we are logged into our admin portal in Office 365. And in the Azure portal, we are searching for Azure Information Protection.
So just remember, like he's going, like Oscar went from admin portal to the Azure portal to configure the AIP. Sometime I was at the booth, the question was, okay, we don't see that AIP into the admin portal, but you have to go here to configure it.
First of all, we have to check that protection is activated. It's default activated, but please check again because some older tenants does not activate this, and you can see this is activated. And if you wish, you can deactivate the Azure Information Protection at any time. And after that, we are going to the labels. You can create a label, a new label. It's on, and you can name it. There's a description here. And you can pick a color for that label. And here is important. If you want to protect your document with an RMS, you have to enable the protection. Without any protection, labeling will work because lots of documents may need label, but it doesn't mean that it's protected automatically. So in the label, you have to choose protect, and you have to choose, do you want to use Azure RMS or your local RMS server? You can integrate your local RMS server if you have, but if you don't have, you can use Azure RMS. You can use set permissions or user-defined permissions, but we are getting with set permissions. You can add your all members, any authenticated member, or you can browse your directory. And with browsing directory, you can add different users. For example, I am choosing only 3 users. And for these users, I am adding co-owner permissions. And after that, I am choosing different users. And, sorry. And for these users, I am choosing viewer options. And I'm saving that. And after that, we can see that a constant expiration date. It means that if you choose by date, you can give a expiration date for your document. For example, you did an offer document, and this offer ends at the end of the week. So you can choose at the end of the week, and that document will be expired in all places with your dates. Or you can choose by dates, and you can give, for example, 7 days. After you created the document, this document will die after 7 days. And allow offline access. If you choose always, all the users can access this document offline. This is a bit dangerous thing because you are doing a protection, and this protection works with cloud protection, cloud policies, and these policies must have to push the other computers. But if you choose always, all the computers which are not connected to the internet can access all the documents anytime. If you choose never, in each opening of the document has to connect to the internet and check the policy. If you choose by dates, for example, 3 dates, this document will not look 3 days to the internet, but after 3 days, it has to check internet for new policies.
Yeah, so you have a lot of features available based on that, what you want to do with the document.
And
which is great.
visual marking, you can set a header or footer for the document, or you can set a watermark for the document, and you can write something for the watermark, and you can customize your watermark, vertical, horizontal, etc. And the other important points, configuring conditions. This is especially for Plan 2. Plan 1 cannot use conditions. And what's conditions? You can enter some conditions, for example, credit card numbers. And if you entered credit card numbers, Plan 2 users automatically scanned. And if there's a credit card number on the document, it will apply it automatically to the document. And you can say that users cannot change this automatically. But M365 business has plan 1. So you have to do this operation manually. And after that,
And we are getting a lot of feedback from the customer that they need the plan too, and we are providing to our engineering group that how we can have it, but it's still working on it.
okay, we have created our label, and from the policies, we are adding this to the global policy.
Okay, no, that's good.
This is our new policy. We have added it. And there are some tricks. Yes?
So you can add that label to any like Excel or Word document, even if it's not in OneDrive or something like that, if it's on like a network drive?
Yes, that's true.
Sweet.
Yeah, okay.
And I have to tell something about these features. For example, if you click on this feature, this means that all emails and documents must have a label. So you cannot save a document without a label. You can protect or not protect, it's not important. But for each document, you have to choose a protect. And if you click justification on, it means that there is a protection on the document, and the user want to change the protection to a lower protection. At that time, the system asks for the user, why do you want to do this? And you can set, again, email labeling, and that's all for this.
Yeah.
I want to show the video about the protection.
So I think this is something we recorded, so you can see when it is applied. What happens if you want to copy
First of
from
all,
one place to the other
it's
place.
showing downloading Azure information protection. And that point, I want to say that in Microsoft 365 Business, you are using Office Standard. And in Office Standard version, you do not have a auto protection label or Azure information protection label. In Pro Plus version, you can use and see the Azure information protection labeling toolbar. So you have to do this manually with this Azure information protection agents. We are downloading our agent from internet. It's a very small application. And after that, we are installing it.
Does this work with Business Premium? Or does that be Microsoft?
We're talking about M365 Business. Yeah.
None of this works with,
Sorry?
none of this works with Business Premium.
No, no, not Business Premium, M365B. Business
And
Premium doesn't have AIP
We are
Plan 1.
protecting documents with right-clicking and opening the agent. We have selected the label, and this label is protected with RMS. And at this time, we are changing the location of the document. We are copying document to another computer. And we are trying to open the document. And it doesn't open. This means that in Azure Information Protection, you can copy your files to anywhere. It's not important because file protected in cloud. And when you want to try to open the document, it looks to cloud if you have access to open the document or not.
Yeah,
So we can continue.
sure. I think we are a little bit running late with the timing, so we might have to do a little bit fast forward something. So we will take questions at the end. If there are any questions, sorry, because we have like maybe 16, 17 minutes, and then we have covered at least 2 sections, right? So for the DLP, what Dave was talking about, like you have credit card numbers, you have social security number, driver license based on which area you are. And then DLP also makes sure when you're emailing something, if it matches the policy, what is in DLP store, So it stops the leakage, the data leakage portion. Ultimately, we are also trying to make sure we are compliant with the policies like GDPR or your local regulations. And DLP is also part of the M365B, which you get. As you saw through the license, it's not in E3, neither in Business Premium. And here, if you want to show how to configure it,
Yes, of course.
I think DLP, we might have to do a little bit fast because otherwise we will not be able to show the
Again, from the
secure
security and
score.
compliance panel,
Yeah.
we are going to data loss and prevention policy tooltips, and we are creating a new policy. We are, especially there are lots of policy templates, and we are selecting financial, and again, credit cards, and next, only a name and description.
And here,
And-
yeah, this thing is also good to know where you
Yes.
want to apply.
We have to choose all the locations for this DLP tooltip, and again, SharePoint and OneDrive locations will be scanned for the DLP tool. Oh, sorry, I want to show this. This means that the policy will work inside the organization or outside the organization or both. And this is an important point. You are saying that at least one times per document, this will not be applied, or this will not be on the document for one time or for two times. If you are saying that two of the credit card numbers will be available on the document, but if 3 credit card numbers enter to the document, this will be a DLP document, DLP scanned document. And we are creating, and DLP works
Little bit
little bit
slow.
slowly, and it takes some minutes for activated. We have a previous DLP policy, and I have to show that. I am sending an email to outside of the organization, and I am entering my credit cards.
And also, it not only checks the 16 numbers, it's also comparing the validity of these numbers using
Yes.
the algorithm, whether this is valid number or just like 16 random numbers. So if it's just 16 random numbers, it doesn't consider it like sensitive or confidential.
I think it's still scanning or not. Yes, and tooltip comes arrive. It means that this conflicts with a policy in your organization, and when I click the learn more, it shows there's a credit card number. In test, you can send the mail and admin will be reported. But if you activate the DLP policy, it will block the mail automatically.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's,
It's in the test mode. I can send it. Yes. After you push the send button, email don't send. But you can push the button. There's an error message at the screen that
It
this
will
is
not
blocked. Yes.
it will not send, and also it depends if it's an information worker, right? And you're gonna give the rights to the user, they can override these things. This is also possible because some of the information workers, they still like to send it based on whatever the work they are doing. So it depends like how you configure the policies based on your organization, yeah. So Intune availability, that's another thing which we discussed, like as part of them, the biggest thing also you get is the Intune, how you can manage all of your devices. You can configure it in one place, like the password, the length, how it should be, location, and like even the screen timeout of these devices. So all can be done at one place using the Intune feature here. Yeah, and then there are different possible, like Azure AD, if you want to join as part of that, you can get all of these features. We are not touching a lot, as I said, the hybrid AD scenario. I think here we put the breakout session, which is tomorrow. Shanka is doing that. I think it's 9 a.m. in the
9
same
a.m.
plaza.
Yep, just on the other side.
Yeah, just on the other side, it's there. So I don't know if we have time to show this demo, or we want to move.
Maybe we can only show the video.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So this
Or
you can.
we can simply tell something about a new portal that's
Yeah, that's there.
admin.microsoft.com.
Yeah.
I want to show this.
And by the way, we have these also videos and everything for you, and especially the session will be recorded.
if you are an M365 user, you can reach this portal with these features, admin.microsoft.com, and there's a devices menu. And after the devices menu, you can go to policies and add new policies for the devices. This is simply integrated with Intune panel. But if you want to do this detailed, you have to do from the Azure portal. Please log into Azure portal and search for Intune. And we are here. We are selecting operating systems. For the operating systems, it
These
shows
are all
us
the features you can see how
yes.
much you can do using Intune rather than going like individual phone, and here you can manage all of them. You can decide whatever you want to do through this template, which is really neat.
These are the common policies. You can enable or disable these policies, and after that, you can run these policies. Yes?
Sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing. Is the main thing is right now you have to go to separate portals to enable DLP, or not separate portals, but security and compliance portal, Intune, AIP, all of that. But the goal is to bring that into the primary admin experience. So if you went to the session on the new M365 admin experience, we're going to bring all of these features in. So our ultimate goal is you don't have to go to the Intune portal to do some of the basic stuff. You can do it right within. And so we're focusing on bringing 80% of a lot of the features and functionality into the core admin experience, so you don't have to, start going into these separate experience. Just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And after that, you can activate your Intune features from here or from Intune portal. Okay.
Yeah, let's go to the.
And we can show the Intune video.
Yes.
It's,
Let's show at least the.
Related with Azure Active Directory join and Intune. First of all, we are joining our machine to the Azure Active Directory. With this, we are connecting. And this is important. We have to choose join this device to Azure Active Directory. We are entering the user credentials, and password.
Yeah. So I think this is kind of configuring there on the back end, your organization. If
It's
you
enabling
define the
MEM
AD
policies.
there.
And think that at this scenario, we have disabled the personalization in settings menu. And again, Cortana. We are restarting our machine.
So.
Machine restarted and Cortana isn't here. And in personalization menu, there are only personalization about fonts and taskbars. But the other personalization options are locked by admin. Yes, that's
Good.
okay.
Yeah. No, that's definitely. I would encourage you to read more on this, especially. So, for the Exchange Online archiving, I said this is another feature which you have in M365. You're going to get 100 gigabit there. If you are getting less space as compared to Office E3. So I will, like here, I will put like what it helps you overall to be compliant with GDPR, all the e-discovery and everything. You can have all of these policies here. And how to enable through a mailbox using either a PowerShell command or you like to go to Exchange Admin Center, that is possible there. So all of these things, if you look at the boiling down to maybe more to be more compliant, right? If you have ATP, if you have DLP, AIP, all of those things, making sure your data is not leakage, it's at one place. And if you want to audit it, you can do it. It's in place hold and everything is possible. For the GDPR, and especially like people like me who are working globally, so every country, like they have their own regulations. In Turkey, for example, they have KVKK, so that's also helping them to be compliant with the local organization. Okay, so I will move it fast. So this one is the secure. How many of you, by the way, know Secure Score? Pretty familiar with that, so maybe we don't need to go to the portal based on, because we have only like 6 minutes, or maybe just, so Secure Score actually gives you your security posture at one place where you can see what is your score based on specific, even the vertical, where you are, maybe the healthcare, what is the score there, what the others have, and what is your average score, how you can improve it. It encourages to do that. Let's see here. Let's show just one for the secure score. At least you can see how it looks like from other side there.
This is the Secure Score dashboard of Microsoft, and you can see your Secure Score of Office 365 and again Windows Secure Score. If you are joining your Windows devices to the Azure Active Directory, you can see the Windows 10 Secure Score right here. This is your target score, this is your current score, and it shows that Microsoft Secure Score, Microsoft seat-sized Secure Score average, Microsoft industry security average, etc. This is
also like
score,
this is really interesting. Like if you just here, if you see this slider, this is really good because we are conducting a lot of like sometimes the workshop secure score, and this tells you if you want to make your score less or more. So here, look at that. These things change based on that. Like what features you want to enable, what features you don't want to enable. So it shows you all of that. So you have one portal for M365B and one you have for the other side. So let's move maybe.
If I could just, this gets back to that point that it made at the beginning, that a lot of small, medium-sized business owners don't even know where to start. This is a great, it really helps them to balance what protections do I want versus what productivity impacts. And so Secure Score with that slider, you can really choose how secure you think you need to be and what the impact is to your productivity. And depending on where that slider is, that's where you get the recommendations of those next steps that you should consider to increase that security profile.
Yeah. And though this is now kind of solution which Macronet developed on the Secure Score side, like how they created with the API integration with Microsoft Secure Score, and they created one dashboard where you can see the Secure Score, like even for the users and also for multiple partners too. But here we are more focusing on the customer side. So if you want to share your screenshots, what you have. I think we still have three minutes.
I think we can continue from this screenshot. And this is a screenshot which we have integrated Microsoft Secure Score to our portal. And this screen shows that you can control your Secure Score from this panel. And you can see some things, for example, Secure Score credits and current Secure Score. You can see your history on the Secure Score. And this portal triggers users to do something for increasing secure scores with gamification. If you increase your secure score, you can win some gamification points, and you can use these gamification points for future license purchases or some simple gifts. And at the same time, we are analyzing the customer's environment with secure score and licenses and linking these analyses to the GDPR rules. So we have a GDPR roadmap, and in that map, you can see that how many of your policies or your security tips are related with GDPR tools. So it shows this GDPR tool isn't included in your environment, and if you want to increase your score and if you want to do that GDPR policy, you have to do, for example, MFA enable or some security features, etc.
Yeah?
Yes.
So all of those features actually which we talk about, like ATP, MFA, BitLocker, encryption, and all of those, they are here. If you see, they have a score associated with that. If you have enabled them, your score will go up, and then it will encourage you. Maybe sometime you have already licenses, but you have never enabled it. So if you look at your score, and then it will gives you a visibility what is enabled, what is not enabled. You can enable them. Plus, other things you can do is maybe you feel, okay, I need to increase my score because of this reason. Maybe I need more licenses. So you are able to.
Again, portal has automation for the features, and
exactly.
For example, for some features, you have to do lots of things in Exchange Online panel or Azure panel, but we are automating these features, and you can see under the offers, auto-enable this feature. And with clicking that, you can do all the jobs automatically. The server works background, and some scripts and some automations works, and you will only need to enter some informations about the security tips or something else like that. After that, it does all the works automatically at the background.
Yeah, happy to share more information if you need after this year.
You can enter to myadmin.com, and you can take a pilot request, and you can see the product in details.
Yeah, so with this, I think a little bit fast forward, but I think we are at the end of our session. In summary, I would say we discussed about the SMB security trends, why is it important. Dave mentioned like what are the common threats and how we can safeguard our assets. Top 3 deployment scenarios, we found like Greenfield, we talked about the business premium and FSE3 and how we can upgrade to the new version. And then we also look at the enabling all these security features. So based on like timing, we were not able to show, I think, but we show most of them. And if there are any questions, please let us know. We will be happy to answer. The last one was the manage of the secure score, how you can have like one single dashboard where you can see your score, how you can enable the features, how the gamification is. So with that, I think we are done with the timing.
Yes,
we are blinking here, but thank you so much for all your
very
time.
much.
Really appreciate any question. We are here. Thank you.